Now, the priming of this is just this simple. You take and put alcohol on the wick itself. Then you take, and the squeeze bottles makes this very, very easy. You take and squeeze whatever alcohol into the reservoir that you want. I'm only putting a little bit in for this demonstration. Now, of course, I'm going to move my alcohol way away from my flame so that if this spills, it just spills right here. And the way I will light it is, luckily, I have some string, some wax string that I use just as a match. This keeps my fingers completely away from the alcohol itself. You light the outside and you light the inside. And you probably can't see it, but if the camera works and you watch, you can see the beginning is the alcohol around on the wick, and eventually once the alcohol from the reservoir heats up, the gas jets themselves will start to flame. And with any luck, you can see them coming on. And I do apologize for the darkness, but other than this, you will not be able to see any of the alcohol working. And what I will do is I'll take, just to show you, you should be able to see. Now, you should be able to see that the flames are coming both from the jets themselves and from the middle. If you take and put something on the middle, look at what happens. Just like a gas stove at home. And believe me, it does generate a lot of heat. You probably could take and snuff it out if you put a can over top of it, but once you get used to how much alcohol it takes to cook 16 ounces or whatever water you're boiling, or frying pan on top of this, as long as there's no wind, you just put this on the ground and away you go. So just to show you the difference between this and at full light, you should be able to see it burning from both the gas jets themselves and from the middle. Now this is with full light on. You can burn other types of alcohol, but if it's not pure, the less pure it is, the more soot you're going to have. And as an experiment, you'll get stuff like this. This was used as, I think I used both isopropyl alcohol and some denatured in here, but I think this was more from isopropyl. Anything that has more water or more contaminants in it will burn with more of an orange flame and won't burn with something as pure blue as what you're seeing. Now, with any luck, I'll be able to take and give you a shot inside. And I don't see that you can see that. A little bit there. You can see that the alcohol is actually boiling inside, but the main heat is coming from the gas jets on the outside. So we'll let this thing run a little bit until it burns out. Okay, let's show you a little bit about the construction on the bottom. Now, I understand this is a hack job and this is a prototype. I actually haven't made any and I don't intend to sell them, so the heck with that. But as I said, this is your pivot point, and the head of your bolt fits in here and will rotate to here and lock down. Close up of the holes, your low holes and your high ones, and as you can see, the high ones are just above the line of where your jets are. So your airflow, actually, as it burns, it will actually draw air through the bottom holes. If it's onto the base, in, rotates, and is locked in. At this point, I don't need the base underneath, but we'll continue to use it. Place the base there. Now, to prime the stove, I'll prime the stove before I put it in this main support unit. And once again, it's very easy. Just go away from where you're going to be applying a match to it. Prime the outside, place it in, then go ahead and put your alcohol in. And on this one, I'm going to make myself some cocoa. Sorry, Ken, it isn't your kind. It's going to be the cheap Swiss Miss kind, but it's cold in the garage here, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. Close it up, get it away from the fire. Well, the alcohol stove is inside this setup and it's already primed. With this rig, what I'll do is I'll take my ignition source and feed it through the bottom hole, which will ignite the priming wick. Then I'll put it to the middle to ignite the rest of the alcohol. And I'll show you a little bit how this looks as it's heating up. Easier to see in the dark. So as you can see, there's a lot of flames coming out of the top, and we're starting to build up around the outside. Now as soon as the alcohol burns off from the priming wick, you'll see just the flames coming out for the side, and there is quite a bit still burning. It's going to burn off here in a second. Now inside my backpacker I have 16 ounces of water, and you can see as soon as I put the backpacker on, most all of the flames are coming up out of the holes, but you can also see that they're coming up along the sides of the backpacker itself, which is very important because that's where you want all your heat to go. As soon as I have the backpacker in, I'll put something on the top to help seal in any steam from escaping. Let's zoom out here a little bit so that you can get an idea of the setup. So the lid's on top, the heat itself, most of the heat is coming out, and the only other change that I'd make would be to make sure that my support cage is the exact diameter to mate very tightly with the outside of the bottle. But it does a very efficient job because, as you could see before, the flames are coming out of the holes, out of the top, and the base itself is very cool. I mean, it's a little bit warm, but not very much. Now, if I were to touch this cage here, I'd burn my finger. So you can tell that the heating is working properly. Well, guys, don't know if you can hear that, but I can hear it boiling, and the flames are just going out. As soon as I shut off the camera, I found my little cap. Of course, it was on the outside of my little sugar bottle for my cocoa. Take that puppy off, got a nice amount of steam, and my 16 ounces, I guarantee you, was boiling. The backpacker, I just use the needle nose to get it off, and then usually a pair of gloves is good enough to hold while you pour it in. And that was about, I'd say about 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces of alcohol, 16 ounces of water. You're talking about a 3 to 4 minute boil time. I understand it has to go through the insulation of the backpacker, but for me, whenever I'm out in the woods and I can't light a fire, this is a very good option. Well, as you can see, the setup works. It works very well. There is one caution I would like to give you: be very, very careful with the alcohol. During the filming, I spilled a little bit. It didn't go all over everywhere, but it's a reminder that this is dangerous, and if you don't have the luxury or the option of burning wood where you're at, this is an option for you, but please be very careful. And Ken, this cup of cocoa is for you. It isn't your recipe, bud, but it'll do because garage videos get kind of cold in Pennsylvania. That's why I got my heavyweight polypros on over my shirt. So I'd like to thank you for your time. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you out there in the woods. Thanks.